Hey everybody, Michael Gregory, Click Call Sell here. I want to talk about something that's been a really hot topic in a lot of my coaching calls and even just client calls that I've had over the past month or two, and that is your hiring funnel. It doesn't really have a whole lot to do with marketing and lead generation, but it actually does. You are marketing when you go out to recruit. If you got an Indeed ad or Craigslist or wherever you're throwing your ads up, you are recruiting, and recruiting is marketing. And what I want to do is talk about some of the wins and the experiences that I've had hiring internally with our agency, as well as some of the wins that I've seen from the home service businesses that I coach every single day. Now, you've probably heard of a marketing funnel, right? You may have heard of AIDA, awareness, interest, desire, action, or awareness, consideration, conversion, and loyalty. You may have heard of a funnel in other contexts before, but you also have a hiring funnel. And I want to put it into context really quick. It starts at the very top. It starts with your job ad. You post a job ad, and you're going to get more people, more eyeballs to see that job ad than any other step of the process. So people's eyeballs see the job ad, and they decide whether or not they want to sign up for, fill out the application, or whatever that step you have on the job ad is. Then we have less people that fill out the form. And then as we move through your interview process, it will be less and less and less people. Your objective as a home service business owner is to have the highest quality candidates move through that funnel at the highest percentage if possible. And one of the mistakes that I see people making is they either A, make it way too complicated for an A player or a qualified candidate to move through your funnel. B, they're not responding quickly enough and people are moving through, or people are just being forgotten about or being missed. And then C, probably the biggest challenge that I see overall is you just have a terrible job ad. You have a job ad or a job hiring process that doesn't make any sense, and it's really hard for you to manage it, or you're not giving anybody else the experience or the opportunity to take charge and lead the interview or hiring funnel process. So what I'd like to do in this video is explain exactly what a blueprint for a hiring funnel is and how you can optimize your hiring funnel to get the highest quality talent you possibly can. Before I get started, I really want to make sure that you understand the biggest challenge that every single leader has in the world probably, and that is going to be that your ability to hire A players is going to be a direct result on your ability to manage and lead A players. A players know they're an A player. They know they're good. They know they're talented. And they don't want to work in a work environment or work for a boss or a leader that they feel like they're better than. And so your job as the leader, the visionary, the entrepreneur, the CEO of your organization, you have to constantly be upping your game, upping your ability to lead better people. And you will find that your bottleneck is always going to be your individual capacity. Your ability to lead leaders is going to be where and the level of talent that you're able to acquire for your organization. So before I go into the hiring funnel, I need you to know very clearly that if you're not able to hire, retain A players, it's probably because of you or your system or your culture in your organization. All right, with that being said, let's go into the hiring funnel. So I'm going to go through each step by step, and then we'll break it down individually. At the very, very top, we have our job ad. When you write a job ad and you get applicants, you're going to see one of three different scenarios. A, you're going to get a lot of terrible applicants. A lot of people are filling out the applicants and are at the application, and they're just not qualified. So in that case, we've probably got a job ad that just sounds too good to be true. We haven't been very clear in it, and it's just a job ad that isn't really descriptive of what we want, because they're getting people that we don't necessarily want to apply, which means we need to put more parameters, more ways, more deal killers to get those people out. Second is nobody's applying. In that case, we've made the job ad probably look so arduous and so difficult that nobody really wants to work for this job, because even in today's economy, there are still people that have a choice of where they want to work. And the third thing that we see is the just right. So I like to use the three bears, right? Poor, just too hot, too cold, and just right. The third is we get it's just right. We get enough applicants coming through, we can manage it. We're getting quality applicants coming through. And so at the very top, we want to have a good job ad that we get quality applicants through. And this theme will be constant throughout every step of what I'm talking about. But if something doesn't work, if we're getting not enough applicants, if we're getting too many applicants that aren't qualified, back up a step, fix the job ad, and then send people back through again. The next step is where the spider web can go. You can go in a whole lot of different ways, the fork in the road. So we can send a video just to say, hey, thank you so much for applying. Watch this video. It's about 3 to 5 minutes. It's going to explain in detail what this job is about in our company and our culture. So watch this video, and then you can schedule a first interview. You can set group interviews, you can schedule one-on-one interviews, you can do a whole bunch of different things at this next step. But the point is you want to have a system, a process for what is going to happen after somebody fills out that applies through Indeed. Some people have an application they actually fill out on Indeed. They're giving their resume, they're filling out the application and getting that to you before you start. If you're not getting a lot of those, maybe change that process. So what I would, instead of talking about a specific thing, I'm going to use my example from my company and what we do so that you can model whatever step you want to do after that. So the first thing that we do is we have a job ad on Indeed. People apply for the job and submit their resumes. We then manually look at those resumes. And I found, because we don't want to get people to the point where we're spending our time and effort talking to people that may not show up or may not be qualified, I want to look at their resume. I'm also setting up the pretty strict parameters on the job. So if you don't have the experience required for the job, you're not even getting through to that application process. So when you're looking at resumes, I personally, or the department head, whatever department they're applying for, will look at those resumes and decide who they want to send this video to. So we are manually reading through applications, and then we are sending this pre-recorded video about that particular description. So I'll just use, if it's a technician, I'm going to have a 3 to 5 minute video explaining a day in the life of a technician, what tools we use, what equipment we use, what service area we have, what kind of houses we service, our technicians you're going to be working with, what the future of the company looks like, our culture, just a 5-minute overview of what the business is. Then at the very end of the video, I say, if you like this, what you hear now, feel free to schedule an interview with this next person. And so then we're finding that funnel, right? If I send that video out to 50 people and one person schedules an interview, that video is not clearly saying the message that I want to say, or I haven't got the right people to apply for the job. So I back up a step and I fix it. In the case for us, we've done this enough times. We know the videos work well and we get a pretty good response rate from that. The second thing that we do is we schedule our first interview, our first in-person interview with the people that have filled out the job ad, met all the parameters of the job, watched the video, still want to apply. 2 things happen at this stage of the interview process. 1, we get people who really want to work for the job. I'm kind of selling on this first job applicant, on the video that I send out. I'm selling it. I'm talking about our culture. I'm selling hard. I'm speaking directly to that A player that I want to hire. And so when they get to the point where they have that first interview, they want the job. They have the desire to work with us. We're not kind of figuring out back and forth of, do you want us to work with you or do you want to work with us? It's they want to work with us, and now we're in the position of power where we can start asking questions. So we have a 3 interview process. The first interview is with our director of admin, and she goes through and asks questions only about you as an individual, you as a person. She doesn't talk about the job, the roles and responsibilities, doesn't talk about the pay, doesn't talk about anything. Only are you the type of person that's going to be a good culture fit for our organization. So we have our core values. We have radical transparency, passion, reliable, and fun. Those are our core values. And we've crafted questions specifically around those core values. And we ask those questions to the applicant. Again, nothing to do with the job, you as a person. And the person doing the interview, the first interview, is even going to say, this first interview is not about the job, it's about you as an individual. Because we've found through years and years of practice and also reading books and it's all over the places, we can fix and improve your ability to do the job and become fantastic at the job. We can't make you a better person. And so we want to find the people who are good individuals and are going to have a good culture fit as individuals. We can teach you how to be better in that particular role. So we ask questions about radical transparency. Give us a situation or time in your professional or personal life where you had to tell a hard truth to somebody and it was difficult for you or them to hear. Passion, something that you really enjoy doing that's not about your work, but something that you like. Is Legos, hiking, family, being a good dad, whatever it could be. Reliable, what makes you want to stay at a job for a long time? So we've crafted these questions specifically around the core values. We don't tell the people applying for the job what our core values are. We want to ask these questions to see how they answer them in the context of our core values. And this is a really good indicator to see if somebody is going to say, oh, I would never tell my boss or my superior something that they're doing wrong. Like, that's not the kind of person that we want. We want somebody who's outspoken and feels comfortable being truthful and sharing honest insights, even when it's difficult. So we go through that first interview purely looking for people who are going to be a good culture fit from a human standpoint. Then the next interview is with myself or with the department head, the person that leads the particular department. And this is going to be all about kind of a recap of that first video that I send out. It talks about our company, it talks about our core values, our vision, the role that you have, the team that you're on, who you report to, what the hours you're going to be working are, what the expectations, the measurables, really just reviewing everything and having that HR meeting you would kind of expect to have on that second interview process. And so we go through, I explain everything. And again, this is me kind of selling them, or the department head kind of selling them, getting them more excited to making them really, really want this job. So that's the objective. By the end of the second interview, they want the job. And then we send them to the third interview, which is mostly, it's like a working interview. And so the very, very end of the second interview, we have the big scare, we call it. And so the big scare is the third interview is going to be the working interview. You're going to meet a lead technician or a leader in the department that you're going for, and you're going to be asked real world questions. So if you're a technician, are you familiar with these kinds of tools? Are you familiar with how to do this? If you work on ladders, can you climb up to the first story of a home and pull a tennis ball out of a gutter? The basic things to make sure that, one, they show up, two, they can do the basic requirements of the job. Again, I can make you better at the basic requirements, but if you're afraid of heights, it's going to be really difficult for me to teach you to not be afraid of heights. So for our agency internally, the third interview is with the department head, and they're going to ask the very technical questions. For an account manager, have you ever been certified in Google Ads? Have you ever done conversion rate optimization? Or we ask specific questions to make sure that they're not completely full of it. They didn't make it through this third interview without knowing the basic core competency of that role or position, whatever it would be. And so we've gone through these 3 steps. And at the end, we typically have 2 to 3 people who make it through all 3 steps. Then we collectively get together with the 3 individuals who did the interview. And then we will make a decision on who we want to hire on that final interview. And then I always do the final offering them the position meeting to offer them the position, make sure they understand the roles and responsibilities, the measurables, who they report to, and then we get them onboarded locally. Now, back up a step. If there ever is a step in your process that you have, and what I would highly, highly encourage is to write your own funnel out. Build your funnel so that you can see exactly what the steps are, every single step of the process. And if something is broken, if we didn't get people to show up for that second interview, we're doing something wrong probably at the first interview. If we don't get people to show up for the first interview, we're probably doing something wrong on the video ask. So we want to do everything we possibly can to analyze every single step in our process, look and see the quality of candidate and the ratio of candidates that are coming through that next step. If you are an owner that says nobody shows up for interviews, or nobody applies for the job, or nobody wants to work right now, I can guarantee you it's not that nobody wants to do X, it's because there's a problem in your process. Right now, within 5 miles of you, unless you live in tiny town Arkansas, there's hundreds of home service businesses that are working. There's handymen and plumbers and painters and exterior cleanings and landscaping happening all around you right now. There are hundreds of employees working for small home service businesses just like you own. Why are they able to hire people? Why are they able to retain talent when somebody else is not? So it is a process issue. It is a culture issue. It is a leadership issue. And it's your responsibility as the business owner to dial in your process, to create the minimum viable system and continue optimizing that process as you move on. So that is our proven process for the hiring funnel. Feel free to use any of the documents or resources that you see in this hiring funnel, and I'm happy to help you in any way possible. Just comment on this thread and we can get an ongoing dialogue happening for optimizing your hiring funnel. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next video. Take care.